organizational culture. So security resources were tight. We had to complement resources with technology. We also had to realize our staff turnover. We have 10% of our staff turns over every year. They're law clerks. There are 4 law clerks assigned to every justice, so 36 people. Every year they come in, they're bright-eyed, they're really happy, and they want to work on constitutional law. They don't care about security, right? They're there, they're working many hours. They'll be there really early in the morning, they'll stay really late. The chief of the building open 24 hours because he thinks everybody should come into the building. Of course, in 2002, 2003, 2004, with VPN access, these 25-year-olds were crying, why can't we work from home? So they can't, they have to come in. They don't like security, they will do anything. They will take hard copies of opinions, they'll take sensitive material outside the building. Sorry, the police there. But they're a problem child. And every year we have to deal with them. Right? Every year we have a new fresh face that says, I know more than you do. The organizational culture, as I mentioned, different business units, right? And every business unit can run their department autonomously. So up until 2004, when we rebuilt the internet network, the library was in fact on its own network, right? So we had the court, we had chambers, we had people, but the library didn't trust our security department enough to secure. So they went ahead and they had software firewalls, they had small little PCs, they had their own networking equipment. But it's their prerogative to do that. Right? So from the security department, we have to have buy-in from not just our senior staff, our senior leaders, but from senior leaders from all over. And so it is a bit of about threats for us specifically. Being inside what they call the Marble Palace, I see what's happening out there in the world. I see how nation-state actors are trying to get information. I know people are trying to get control of PCs, being part of bots and stuff. Our threats, I think, they're changing. I'm gonna sort of, we can see our traffic logs. We see international traffic coming in. We see scanning. We see stuff. I think what's going to happen for us is we have hacktivists. We have people who don't like us just because of who we are, and they have time, will, and motive. I mean, every day I go to lunch, there's a organization that stands out with red tape on their mouth, and they have representatives, rain or shine, every day, 365 days a year. So you have people like that who suddenly don't like you, and I'm just trying to earn a living, right? So give them time, give them will. So we have to kind of focus on that as well. Information sharing, we touched on it. We're the judicial branch. First time I went into a meeting with the CBO and the Senate and a few others, they're like, what are you doing here? Right? And I was like, well, we're trying to get into security. Information sharing is really, really difficult. We don't have access to SuperNet, we don't have access to JWICs. It's just really tough. So as Jim had mentioned, peer networking. So we have what I call applicable solutions because we're in a very unique situation. Knowing yourself is the biggest thing. We have limited staff, we have limited resources, right? Not everybody's going to be a malware analyst. Everybody wants to be that malware analyst. Everybody wants to be the system engineer. Know who you are, who your staff is, and what they're capable of, and don't get tied up on the nitty-gritty of the stuff, right? Know what your core mission is. Our core mission is to fulfill the opinion process, right? It's not to identify the zero day, right? Our job is to identify the zero day if it comes in and we find anomalous traffic and take the machine off the network. But it's not to sit there and analyze every phishing email that comes in. We just don't have the resources for it right now. We educate our user base. With those law clerks that come in, we gave them the standard security briefing. But then I realized in 2002, and I got buy-in from the heads, is to give them a supplemental briefing. And essentially what I do now is I tell them the state of the environment. And I hold them accountable for their actions. I say someday the court will be hacked. And it will be because you open up an email on a link because you want to watch a YouTube video about Michael Jackson. Do you want to do that? And most of them, coming from their environments, they take that to heart. So I've been told by chamber staff that the supplemental security briefing scares them. And they're really afraid to do things that the security briefing tells them not to because we show them how hard it is or how easy it is to be compromised. I'll demonstrate a password cracker. I'll have two come up, type in one of their passwords they use, and crack it for them. Right? And all of them will sit back and say, wow, I didn't know it was that easy. Right? Be visible. For us at the court, since we have to balance the politics and the technology, right? We go out and we make relationships with people, right? And so that's a big thing. I was talking to Paul and Jim the other day. 3 years ago, when you got a fake AV, you'd go visit the computer and they're like, oh, I had an antivirus pop up, I clicked on the clean, and now my computer's infected. Right now, the staff is comfortable enough that they'll call us, right? And we'll go and we'll talk, we'll say, okay, what were you doing? They won't be afraid to say, I was surfing eBay, I was going to NewYorkTimes.com, right? I was looking at the blog. They feel comfortable enough to tell us that information without any sort of repercussion. And we need that information, right? One of the favorite things to do, and this is just an aside, I always like that call, like, so, do you go to this website often? No, I've never been there. How about yesterday? Oh, yeah, yesterday. Yeah, no, I was there yesterday. So, and when you start to talk to people like that, they realize, okay, well, you're not out to get them, you just need the information to do your job. Prevention architecture, right? We cannot filter at the court. We cannot do any sort of blocking. We were able to block WikiLinks, which is one of the first things we've ever been able to block. But we cannot 100% say we block a gambling site, we block a porn site, we block a hacking site. That just, it won't fly with the conference. So what we have to do is we have to find ways to mitigate that. So we're using technology and being visible as a way of doing that. The court knows that we're watching. All the court users know that we're watching, and so they're policing themselves. And the other thing we do is we do a lot with filtering. We use 2 different technologies. We have multiple vendors in our systems architecture that exploit kind of the defense in depth. Right? So we all know signature technology is kind of dead, but it's what we have to rely on right now. So if you have different vendors with different signatures all in place, you're at least taking out some of the low-hanging fruit. And making friends and contacts, that's how Paul and I got on this, Paul, Jim and I got on this panel. Making friends and contacts is, it's huge out there, especially for a small agency. To attend these conferences, to attend G1st, to be social, to go out there before everybody gets too drunk. Get some cards, the peer networking out there, they got me, because of Paul and actually some of the vendors, I was able to meet some other people. They've got me on a list recently that actually is an early indicators warning list, which has helped our systems identify our logs faster. So by the time it gets to US CERT, hopefully no one's here from US CERT, it's old news, right? Especially for visible agencies, right? So making friends and contacts, I can't stress that enough, and that's how we've gotten about some of our unique situations. So I just want to end. Like, we have to think outside the box where we are, just because of the unique position that we're in. I think moving forward, we have to rethink organizational structure and communication. I've heard it for the past 2 days now. Security has to be part of the business unit. Security has to be part of the business process. My question is, when is that going to happen? We have an entrenched leadership that that understands it, but we haven't, even security hasn't provided a solution. They haven't said, put us here and we'll make everything okay, right? And even when they do put us here, I think we have, there's still, we have to just start thinking outside the box. Be proactive instead of reactive. Potential threats. I know we all listened to Dr. Young's talk last night. I had a different take on it than my peers did. He was definitely, he was shocking, and there's a lot of stuff that he said that he could do. My question was, yes, if you're visible, maybe you will be a target, right? But you're always going to be a target for anything. He said not to use technology, or always use technology, don't be afraid to use technology. He just kind of made it seem like the sky was falling. And when I look at the things that, at least from an agency perspective, that I need to worry about, it wasn't much of what he was talking about. But that's just my opinion. I think we have to stop.